Welcome back to the Sound for More channel and welcome back to another tutorial. Today I have the pleasure to introduce you to jAmp Percussive. Before I continue, I would like to remind my viewers to subscribe as it helps with growing the channel. Additionally, if you would like to support what I do, please do check the instruction contained in each video description. Thank you again. Okay, as you can see, we are inside the so SynthAUv3 compliant. And very good on DSP as well. So, but what is it? It's an acoustic drum synth, and it's quite good. It sounds actually quite lovely. Let's go full screen here. And just to let you know, I have just mapped an external controller so that I can start and stop the transport control of because this app has also the possibility to run a sequencer, as you can see at the top here. So let's start with a brief overview. As you can see at the very top, you have a selection here for preset. Click on it, and this is where you can choose factory and user preset, of course, if you created them. It's nice to see an init preset, but then you have a number of presets here that you can choose from, which come, of course, with some sequences as well. As always, you can save, delete, and share presets. You can also import preset and export them as well, which is great. One other thing that probably could be improved moving forward, it would be good if it shows the name of the preset here, because you can go to the next preset and the previous preset. You can see that it's changing here in terms of what you see at the bottom, which is a number of pads. Right, 8 at the top, which represent pad which have a membrane type of parameter, and one at the bottom which have a cymbal type of parameter. Okay, so perhaps in a future version we can have the name of the preset over there. Here you can choose between a sequencer or a synth. At the moment it is in synth mode, so the highlighted one is the yellow one, but you can click and go in sequencer mode, okay, which is this view. But let's go back now to the synth. You have channel modes, which I will explain in a moment. Let's close that. And then you have a choice here of velocity, which is important. You can also set it on night mode or also in day mode. I kind of prefer the night mode. Then in the middle here, you have a number of parameters, which depends very much on the pad that you have selected. And then at the bottom, you have, of course, the pad which you can trigger. Okay, so let's listen to some of the pad. Remember, this is an acoustic drum synth, okay? So this is not about sampling. So when you choose a kick like so, you can see it says kick here, and you can change here as well, the one which already defined that preset. You can have MIDI learn and assign a note, which you can use then via MIDI. You can decide the type of or characteristic membrane derived cymbal, right? So that's membrane cymbal. Okay, and then you can go in silence mode, which is really good. It doesn't produce any sound, but that is useful when, for example, the sequencer is running and you want to change parameter without having to produce the sound. So that is really good. Okay, and of course you have parameters here. Therefore, let's go to, for example. Here you can see that I can change the pitch. Okay, double click to reset. Decay. Make it longer. Okay. It doesn't reset it in as it was in the parameter, as you can see. Here is resetted as default. That is something else, again, that perhaps could be improved. You have low pass here. Which is good. You have an overtone gain as well. And pitch, of course. And also pitch setting as well. Here you can affect the noise, intensity, pitch, and environment. Then the mallet and the velocity. and then you have an overall gain. And then, of course, you repeat the same, for example, for... Let's go for a ride, which is your type cymbal, as you can see. You have pitch again. Decay. Shorter. High pass instead of low pass. Timbre. Attack. Crash delay as well, which you can introduce. Okay. Noise, you can change the noise. Mallet soft. The pitch. Velocity and the gain again. So a lot of different options. So when you are ready, of course, and you define all of those, of course, you can play them yourself. Right, depending on what you are doing. You can change your preset, of course. But the important thing is that you can go also to the sequencer, and that is where you need to activate the transport control of AUM. And you can see here, you can choose your different parts that you've selected. And for each one, of course, you will have some velocity defined or not. Velocity is, of course, your step. Here you have the number of steps. You set how much velocity you have for each step, right? Then you can set the decay, the pitch, the flam, of course, 3 notes together. And rolling, how much rolling you want to do, and the probability of chance, and also the intensity. Chance is really good because it affects also the mutation, which we'll touch on it in a little while, but probably needs a dedicated tutorial for that. Here you have different patterns which you can call upon for. Okay, and if I press play, at the moment it is there's only one pattern. Let's try another one. You can see in this mode that the yellow one is the selected one, but it was moving forward between different patterns. Because of the button here, the sequencer, instead of being manual, is set to sequential. So it's sequentially moving between the patterns. So either manual, sequential, or in a randomized fashion as well. So it's quite straightforward in terms of how it works. Then you can clear, randomize, shift left and right, up and down, invert and reverse. You can add some swing here, change the tempo, the steps. And then you have this part, which I will explain in more detail in one of the upcoming tutorial. But this is where you set it for mutation. And the mutation has 2 parameters, as soul and vocabulary, okay, which is really interesting, okay. But that depends on the mode you set here as well, which can be mutate, where it will remember, glitch where it doesn't remember, overwrite where it will overwrite after it has mutated on the pattern as well. Yeah, you have randomization, selection of singles, rolling, etc., etc. The moment it's set to random, you can sync in or sync into the host. You can do regular, half time, straight shuffle, a lot of different options. But I suggest I come back with a more dedicated tutorial for this section. Otherwise, I will be rushing it through. But I give you just a bit of a sense. So if I go and I select ini, of course, I have an initialized preset. Let's ensure that we're here. Press play, and we don't hear anything. That's perfect. Let's use that one. Let's go back to the sequencer. So let's go to the kick here, okay. And let's go to velocity. So let's set the velocity here, here as well. So the typical 4, right? Beats in a bar. Nice and simple. Go to there, do that here and here. Same for hi-hat here, so let's repeat that perhaps every bit. Okay, like so, pretty simple to use. Now let me show you. We are going to mutate, okay? But we're going to mutate using glitch, okay? And of course, as I bring it down and stop, it goes back to normal. I can click copy and paste, copy here, and then go to the second pattern and paste it there. And perhaps go to the snare and just do something like that. And then I go to the first one, I set it to sequential mode, and I click play on the transport control of AUM. As you can see, it was playing the first pattern, then the second one when you have these more rolling part at the end here of the snare. Now let's have a little bit more fun and mutate again. And so on and so forth. You have also a channel section. This is where you can mute, solo, allow decay to be changed. When you have mutation on, you can change the pitch, the number of steps as well, up and down in terms of intensity, and then left and right in terms of your right channel. So let's try. Okay, I'm going to stop here for this first introduction. I hope you enjoyed it, and as always, see you next time. Bye.